Well, here's another problem-solving tip. This person says, I'm having trouble with greens. When I try to get them lighter, they get chalky looking. Can you help? I think so. Yeah, this is a problem that can happen with colors that are, with hues that have a lot of yellow in them. Look on the color wheel here, we can see the green, and it's green and blue that makes yellow. So we see the green here and then the yellow green, and we see the same thing that I'm about to show you can be repaired when you're working on the other side of the color wheel. The oranges and yellow oranges tend to, when you just add white to them to lighten them, they tend to do the same thing. And what's happening is that the color is losing the yellow quality. Now I'm going to first of all show you the problem the person is having. I'm starting out here. This is sap green. This is a yellow green in hue. You'll have the same problem. You know, greens will range, or they go from yellow green over to what we identify just as green, and then over get a little bit bluer green. And in that range of where the yellow is so heavy, this is going to happen. So this is the sap green, Daniel Smith sap green I have here. You see, very, very dark right there. And so, but if we just lighten that up, let's pull some white over here. If you just lighten that up with white, it seems to work to an extent, but then you see it begins to get a change, almost as if it's changing color. In the lighter parts, you don't notice it quite so much, but then as we get it lighter and lighter, what we see happening is that white actually bleaches out the yellow. It robs the yellow. And so here we go. You see that's getting cooler and cooler as we make a kind of a value scale of that sap green. You see it getting even cooler and lighter, and it begins to get chalky. What this person describes as chalky, especially looks chalky if you're doing something in nature. If you're painting something in nature that's green, that doesn't read green. Not the green. Green's kind of chalky when especially surrounded by other colors. Okay, we can correct that by adding the yellow back in. And you can do the same thing if you're working with like flesh tones. Flesh tones will often, if you just add white into maybe whatever orange or yellow orange, or I'm talking about the Caucasian flesh tones, are very hard to work with in that respect. So adding yellow back in when it seems to want to go chalky is a good way to solve that problem. So let's just do that a little bit here. I'm going to pull a little yellow down, and just pull the yellow down right here. Now I'll show you the difference. So what I'll do this time with the sap green, we'll start the sap green the same way we started it this time. We'll start it very, very dark like this. But rather than move for white to lighten, I'm going to move to this. This is Hansa Yellow Light. So I'm going to move to Hansa Yellow Light to lighten. Another option here, if you have it, but usually a limited palette is a better palette to work with. There are other light colored greens that you could mix in with that are stronger, leaning stronger on the yellow side. But using the Hansa Yellow Light or the cadmium yellow light, one of those yellows that seems to go, that have a nice saturation of yellow in it, is a better way to go. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow, pick up a little bit more yellow, and gradually get it lighter, just with yellow to begin with. So get that a little bit lighter, and a little bit more yellow. See, and now you can feel by using the yellow, you can feel that green. You see the comparison of this against this. You see that light, the light coming through the green there. Let's pull some more of this yellow down. And gradually add a little more yellow. And you see, there you go. Now that is looking more like yellow-green. Of course, yes, this is just the straightforward without changing the intensity I'm doing here. Now when it gets to about a middle value like that, when you're carrying a yellow-green up the value scale, depending on what you're seeing in nature that you're trying to interpret. But at some point, light's going to be hitting something green very strong. You're going to need a much, much lighter green than that. This is where you can switch to white. So if you just carry about middle value here, just by adding the yellow into the green to lighten it, then pull the white down, then you can begin to raise the value, continue to raise the value with white. You have enough yellow in here already that you can begin to raise the value with white and not have that chalkiness that this person talks about. So here we go. You can see that the yellow and the green keeps it nice and bright. See there? See how nice and bright that is? I can keep carrying it up the value scale by adding white. And there you go, right there. So now you can see the difference between the two. That when you just add white to sap green, which is the yellow green, you just add white to it by itself, all you're going to get is a cooler and cooler and cooler mixture as it gets lighter and lighter, lighter. But if you start out by adding yellow to it very gradually to raise its value up to middle value and then pick up white, then you'll get this true reading from the darkest dark of yellow green to the lightest light of yellow green. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianeMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.